We're about to start. Just give us one moment. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from children of all ages, we're here to start the show for Weebs of the Ring, episode 33. How we all doing this evening? Because it's Stampede time. We're here to talk about the AJ retires. Did he lie to us? Did he pull the fucking Mark Henry? Does people in a power suit that looks lovely and dashful always have to lie? Well, at least we know the person that was crowned Queen of the Ring did not lie. She said that she'd be versing the person who's the current champion of the WWE Women's Division. Bayley will be facing our SummerSlam. Or would that be changed with Piper Niven versus Naomi with Chelsea Green on this match of the night? LA Knight, Nick Aldis, and Carmelo Hayes had a little moment. We're going to talk about it. The Bloodline saga continues. Who's the we? Who is giving the orders? Let's discuss that for tonight. And we have a Street Profits versus Tonga Lola and Tama Tonga. The first time the brothers will be on live TV on WWE. So let's discuss if it was a good match or not. And the other two matches of the night is Ciampa versus Austin Theories and Apollo Crews versus Andrade. One of the best SmackDowns, on my opinion. But you're not here just for my opinion. So let's start the show. Let's hear our lovely voices. And let's have a good time.
Yes. It's been a hot minute since all three of us have been in a show together, because that's right. You have stumbled upon the Weebs of the Ring podcast. Now, what are we? Who are we? Well, we have anime in our souls, and we've got thoughts of wrestling out of control. And we are a trio of weebs who love this entertainment that we like to call professional wrestling. So allow us to be the voices inside of your head as we go through the wrestling event of the evening, give our thoughts and predictions on what's to come, and provide an experience inclusive to all nerds. Now grab your steel chair, yell for the table, and get put through an experience like none other. Brought to you by AniMa W3 Studio, this is the Weebs of the Ring podcast. That's right, everybody. Like I just said, we have all of our co-hosts here. We are fully locked in. Of course, when you say his name, he appears, I believe, in walk-ins. That's right, I'm back from MomoCon. Enjoyed myself during that time. Enjoyed myself during a little bit of a break and all that. But I did not come alone. Of course, as always, we have our two other co-hosts. Gentlemen, please tell the lovely people who you are.
The visionary, legendary Vash, who will bring upon us the new era of Triple H. The Cody Rhodes, the champion. We are going to go down this road and smack the bejesus of AJ Styles on how he be lying to us.
Since we're on the topic of AJ Styles, we got the American Nightmare drop this box. About the latest SmackDown tonight.
Oh, yes. All right. That's right. So we are here to talk to you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and ignorant children of the aisles, about SmackDown tonight. It was a pretty dang good show, as Vash ran down for us, but was it as good as we thought? Was it as good as he hyped it up? I don't know. We'll kind of get into it. But first of all, chat. Hopefully you guys are having a good night. Hopefully you had a great, awesome Friday. But guys, how are you doing? How you guys doing tonight? Again, had another week go down, but let me hear from you. How you guys doing?
Doing pretty good. Honestly, happy that I'm really comfortable in my room because it's been getting pretty hot since we're getting closer and closer to summer. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think one of the things I was curious about the most is what was going to be going on with SmackDown this week. Because with Raw, at least we got a good understanding of what was going on down there. But after the conclusion of King of the Ring, there's like a lot of questions to be answered for tonight's show, and we got some interesting things to talk about on top of that.
Hell yeah,
that
we do.
And we do. A lot of... Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say on top of that, for those that want to know more, go check out last night AniMa podcast, episode 146. You know, here's a quick promo marketing of, hey, go check out other shows on AniMa podcast that happened last night. Shona Ronin maybe possibly coming back sooner than later. So that is hella amazing. If you're checking us on the Twitch side and the YouTube side, we appreciate it. On YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, share it to your friends. If you check us on the Twitch side, I appreciate the follow, appreciate the sub. Use the Twitch Prime sub. Or everything is gladly appreciated. And I'm doing fucking amazing. It's a Friday night. We're about to start the month of June. Clash of the Castle is being promoted. That's the next PLE. I had a great time watching this damn fucking SmackDown. I had a purely entertainment time watching the SmackDown. I felt like I have great things to talk about. I wrote stuff on the docket. I was fully locked in, loaded, like watching the show, actually hearing what's going on, doing the homework, and also writing my thoughts about it, because it's like, hey, a 2-hour show that we gotta watch, and then give a commentary about it. So I cannot remember every single thought. So to actually write stuff on the docket and actually be prepared for the show and be like, yo, I'm reading off my own notes, and actually gonna help me to, you know, to bounce off that. So I'm feeling great.
All right, good. Yeah. And yeah, that's kind of what happens with me when I'm like trying to do the notes during the show. Like it kind of gets me to pay attention a little bit more and like kind of catch a few things. Like sometimes I don't catch all of the commentary, like from the commentary team. So I'm just like, all right, well, somebody will like hear something from them. But like, yeah, dude, like you kind of get locked in, and especially tonight, like I was pretty much the same boat as you. I was pretty locked in with the whole show. Again, like I think like near the end it started to drag, but it was really only like
the 9:30 match when it was with Bailey, Naomi versus Chelsea Green, Piper Niven. Like that's where I'm starting to like, but also it's because I got busy, no time to prep dinner. So but I felt like a bit like, you know, I'm okay missing this. I'm sad to miss it, but I could watch a replay of it where I know I can at least hear it. And I was hearing it the whole time. I just wasn't watching visually, so I totally understand that.
Yeah. Yep. So, but you know what? Let's stop. You know, keeping everybody waiting. Let's just go into the show. Let's go into probably our big story of the night. AJ Styles retires from wrestling because, you know, he's done with it. He's been doing this for like 20 plus years.
Yeah, we all knew that was coming.
Yeah, you know, like, don't get me wrong, the day will come, but it ain't tonight. It wasn't tonight.
I would say, while he was going at it, if I knew, even though I'm out of the context of what happened with Mark Henry all these years ago, I wasn't there, but I at least I am aware of said situation. So watching what was happening with tonight, wearing the colors, seeing like all the build up for it, seeing this, I know that when it actually happens a year from now or two, it will hurt a lot of fans that have seen his career go from point A to point Z, and also to see him end his career on where he wants to be in the like he built Friday Night SmackDown. This is AJ's house. To actually see this, knowing that whenever he becomes a Hall of Famer, I know it's gonna hit a lot of people fans. I'm a late fan of AJ Styles, so to actually just see this, knowing that he blue balls a lot of people, even though a lot of people saw it coming, just to see the small glimpse, it's still like, wow.
Yeah. And coming from somebody that, like, because I was kind of starting to get back into wrestling like mid 2015, late 2015. So like when 2016 rolls around and I'm starting to see AJ Styles again, and I'm like, okay, I kind of remember him from like way back in the day when I was watching it like in high school and all that, like because I would put TNA on, and like AJ Styles was on TNA. So like he's been my favorite ever since getting back into it way back when. So like I was on the fence with everything. I'm like, okay, there's no way he's actually retiring. But there's also a chance because, I mean, again, CM Punk is back in WWE, and, we're doing crossovers with TNA now in NXT. So it's like,
oh my
anything's
God.
possible when it comes to
This
WWE.
NXT was fantastic. I just want to say that quick comment.
Yeah.
I wish we had an extra show to talk about this past week of wrestling, because this week of wrestling, even AEW was great, even though I had moments. But NXT was amazing. I have so many thoughts about this. But for anybody that have not seen NXT this week, for any pro wrestling fan that don't watch it, please do just watch this episode. It had great moments throughout the whole night. Please do.
Yep. But Drop, how'd you feel about like this promo that AJ was saying, like in like the words he was using and just like his overall delivery with everything? Like how did you feel about this quote unquote retirement speech?
Well, first off, I already had a feeling we were going to get into a segment like this anyway, because I was a little confused at first because, like I spoke about before on the show, I thought this was leading into like some sort of trade.
Yeah.
But then, because the way I was looking at it, I was like, okay, you got stuff going on with Braun Breaker. He's not listening to Adam Pearce. And then at the time, it seems like AJ wasn't really getting what he wanted from Nick Aldis because, like he said today, again, he doesn't really have that much time left. So I was thinking in my head, okay, this is going to be some sort of trade between the two, even though it really wouldn't make sense to trade Braun back to SmackDown after he just went to Raw, but that's a story for another day. But I'm honestly just glad overall that they're actually using AJ Styles, and AJ Styles actually feels important, because I can't remember the last time I can say that AJ Styles actually felt important in WWE, where they were actually utilizing him and putting him in like these high profile matches. Like I can't really recall the last time where he actually felt important. So I appreciate that Triple H is actually giving some spotlight to him, because he definitely deserves it, and he doesn't have that much time left. Like regardless of this being a fake retirement, realistically he does not have that much time left, and he probably wants to do a couple more matches, and then he's eventually going to hang up his boots, and he's probably going to spend a lot more time with his family. But I like this whole entire segment because I like how it drew everybody in. It felt emotional, even though in the back of your head you knew that he wasn't really retiring, because throughout this entire segment I was just waiting for him to like attack Cody. Like as soon as Cody out, I kept eyeing Cody walking around the ring, and I was just waiting for that moment for him to attack him right there, and it happened. And I'm glad that they're doing Cody versus AJ again instead of like another random match. Well, I will ask a question after I give my thoughts on this to you guys to hear your piece on it.
Yeah.
But I'm just honestly glad that we're doing AJ Styles versus Cody too. You could actually build more story there, because one of the things that the three of us love when it comes to pro wrestling is story. Sure, a match can be cool to see two people fighting all the time, but at the same time, you want to make sure that there's like a story behind it. You look at Final Fantasy, for example. There's a reason why Cloud is going after Sephiroth. They're not just going after each other just because they want to go after each other. There's a legitimate reason why those two are clashing, because of things that build up throughout that game. That's why story is so important. That's why story is so key. That's why we watch movies and TV shows and even anime, because we are invested in the stories and the journey that the characters go on. So I like how we're actually going to be getting more story with this match. And the question I was going to ask you guys, and I personally felt this way after looking at the most recent match that we had. Did you guys feel like at first, like Cody, after the AJ match, a lot of us were speculating at first they were going to continue it, but even though the match between AJ and Logan was great, because it was, did you feel like at first that Cody kind of felt like directionless, where it kind of felt like they weren't really building proper stories with him and not utilizing him in a way where it's like, okay, we just want to put him in this match with this guy just because we want to get like a couple of hits out of it and stuff like that? Like I get why they did the Logan match of him at Saudi, mainly because Logan's a Saudi guy and he makes money and stuff like that. Like, I understand the business perspective behind it, but I do understand that a lot of people really love Cody. Cody's one of the best storytellers in the business, and they want to see him utilized well. They want to see him put into like some good stories, which is what we're clearly seeing with AJ Styles now. So did you felt like with the whole Logan thing, like, I don't know how you guys personally felt like that, like brushing the match aside, because we know the match was great. Like, how did you personally feel like just that whole build up with that?
Okay.
If you don't mind me speaking first, Watkins.
I was actually gonna ask. I was actually gonna be like, "Hey, Vash, go ahead." So
the way I see it is, with X doing the match, I have to see it as a business move for Triple H. Why would he choose Logan Paul? Because right now, even during the promo work, we also have to read it in between the lines. What they're saying has to have some type of value on what they're saying. Cody said that people still view Logan as a part-timer. That people still view Logan that he doesn't take this seriously, even though he has had match after match, really good, a lot of feedback. He has great moments and highlight reels, like with Ricochet, with Roman, and with other type of superstars that he's been in the ring with or doing mic work. I feel like as a business move, Triple H chose this to show that Logan could still go against the next #1 guy after Roman, which is Cody, showing that on paper, and as the champion now, who Logan is as the United States champion, that he could still go toe-to-toe against the #1 guy. Number 2 is that Logan could now go against the #1 guy as a champion. He hasn't had the opportunity yet. Number 3 is that for on Cody's end, that he needed an opponent, but what's a great way to teach people that right now Cody cannot go for the U.S. champion, but after he loses this belt in the future, his next goal, his next mission, his next objective is the U.S. champion to become the Grand Slam. So he was also telling a story to the audience that this title is not the only important title. The mid-card title is also important to Cody, because once he gets that, he becomes the Grand Slam. So on face value, yes, story-wise, we didn't get enough build-up because of what Watkins and us as a team has been saying, that after WrestleMania, we have 2 PLEs back-to-back within 6 weeks instead of 8 weeks, or spread out. So
now we have another one in 3 weeks, too.
Again, so it feels like they have to rush the stories and do the build-up in a faster pace, where a lot of people will not see it on face value. But when it comes to promo work and mic work, we also have to read what they're telling us to the audience, and also them using the interviews outside of WWE, where they're talking to podcasts and talking to other people, where they're saying, I think it was in the Mark Henry show, I think it was Busted Open, or what we spoke about last week's show, of how when he said, hey, I cannot go for the U.S. title because of Logan Paul because he took it off the table. But that doesn't mean that I can never go for it again in the future and become the Grand Slam. So as content creators and as audience, we have to take the extra step to view other type of content where we could hear the full story or what is the story. That sucks for a lot of fans that don't have the time, or as creators, but that's how I view it as a whole to the answer of that question. Hopefully that answer it. And how about you, Watkins?
So there's kind of a lot of layers that go into like my mindset with it all. So like, cause I did that thought did cross my mind a little bit like a few weeks ago. It was around the time when Cody had beaten AJ with like the whole, Cody kind of seems directionless and all that. Like the thought did creep into my mind. And then like, I kind of sat there and thought about it a little bit more, especially after Logan Paul was announced to be his next opponent. And I started thinking, I'm just like, wait, hold on. The story of Cody's championship reign is right there. It's him defending the title. It's him like having these awesome matches and actually like going out and being that company guy. So like where like
exactly be that company guy.
You can think of it more. Like think of it more of like an overarching like arc. So like I'm gonna use Wano from One Piece as an example. So like Wano is the whole big arc, you know, but like you also have acts within those arcs. So like there's Act 1, 2, and 3, and then there's even like little smaller arcs within that. So like I'll take Act 1 for example with One Piece. Like you have the arc where it's like, okay, Luffy just getting into Wano and like figuring things out. Then there's the part where he's like in the Okabore town, and then there's like the part where he faces Kaido. Then like you have Act 2, so on and so forth. And that's kind of what Cody's story is right now. So like the overarching story is like, yeah, he completed the story. He's now WWE champion. So it's now like, okay, the story is defending and keeping that title. And now our next destination is WrestleMania next year. But like we have others pit stops we got to make. You know, you got to do like the company rounds. You got to do the media rounds. You got to do like the defenses and all that. Like actually defending your title in good matches, which, as we've seen so far, just in the first two defenses he's had on PLEs, he's had really damn good matches.
Yeah.
Defending this title. So I think that's like the overarching story with Cody Rhodes going forward, and with Logan Paul being the opponent for the Saudi show. I mean, it does make sense since it is Logan Paul. And kind of like what you were saying, Drop, where it's like Logan's kind of like one of those Saudi guys. Like, okay, he's definitely going to be in a Saudi show. He's going to get there, get that big old paycheck, and that's just the end of the deal. He's U.S. champion now, which, you know, is kind of weird in a way, because like we're starting to see like a few more champions in wrestling also go for like a world title. Like, I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with AEW lately, but like freaking Will Ospreay just won a title in AEW, and now he's going to be going for the world title at Forbidden Door. So like, yeah, it's kind of weird, because it's like,
I did see that.
Yeah, but like that gets into a whole other can of worms that we're not here to talk about with that. But like, I don't know. Like, I had that thought at first, but stepping back and just like looking at the bigger picture, there is a story there, and like, we also do see like other intertwining things within the company too, like the Bloodline, for example. They haven't forgotten about Cody. Like we'll talk about the Bloodline here in a little bit, because they have their own stuff too, but they did mention Cody. Like Paul Heyman did say, you know, the plan is to keep Cody in check, and you know, Solo said his little line. Yeah, exactly. So like they have a plan. Whether they are able to get through with that plan, well, that remains to be seen. Pretty doubtful, but you know, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But yeah, I mean, I think Cody's fine, because he can make a really good, compelling story with just a very short amount of time. We saw that with Logan Paul. We're seeing more of that with AJ Styles now, and we'll probably see more of it too later on. And I think part of it too is there is a bit of an injury bug going around with WWE. Yep. So there isn't too many people that are on the level that Cody can realistically have like a match where it's like, oh wait, I could see Cody losing here, which, I mean, realistically, I don't see him losing until at least Mania. Yeah. And even then, it's like, he's not losing it there either. But yeah, so I mean, I guess that's kind of how I feel with like Cody's booking right now, and I'm kind of glad we're going back into this AJ feud, and I'm kind of glad too we had this kind of a break in between AJ, because like in the past with WWE, whenever we had like a big rivalry like this, we would always get like the rematch right after, like right at the next PLE, whereas with this, we kind of had a stopgap where it was just like, okay, AJ lost his match. Like, he lost his opportunity. He wanted another one. Nick Aldis said, nah, that ain't happening. And then AJ decided, okay, well, I'm going to hang back a bit. I'm going to formulate a plan. And I believe I did see a couple tweets that had mentioned something like this, but it's like, AJ, instead of going into the back of the line, decided, okay, I'm gonna make myself the front of the line by attacking Cody, by tricking him and like doing all that stuff. So
Smart way to do it too.
Once
exactly.
So during that segment,
I will be right back.
Copy.
I have to.
Oh yeah, you good?
With AJ Styles, with Cody Rhodes, when he's Cody Rhodes just having him not come out.
Mm-hmm.
I wish he didn't, because it would have felt more natural.
Mm-hmm.
I wish Cody would have came out at the last type of minute, where it's like 9:59 p.m. and the show's about to end, and then Cody just comes here, don't even say a word, just shakes hand, and just does this, and then that's when AJ Styles attacks. Because I feel like once Cody came out, that's when I knew, like, okay, he's definitely gonna betray him, he's definitely gonna lie to him. So it like, as a creator, that wasn't even what took me out. It was a fan, knowing that Triple H is doing the story what happened with Mark Henry once again. And I'm saying that you cannot break, not reuse what's not broken. Like, hey, if it's that good, why not use it again? No worries, but at least twist it. Like, don't just copy the homework of 5 years ago. At least, change up the questions. At least change up the answers a bit.
Yeah.
So, like, once Cody came out, Cody was giving a sentimental speech. Cody was about to cry or having red eyes. He's getting emotional. He was saying, hey, little bro. At first, I was a bit confused from that, but then, he gave the context that AJ Styles was like the big brother to everyone, because he has had the long years of experience in being in the business. Even though he was in that company for that long, he's been in the business for so long. But then once Cody was grabbing the hand, going side to side, I'm like, all right, Cody, you're going too many sides.
Yeah.
You're repeating it. It's starting to get too obvious. And then once they did it, I'm like, I can't even say I saw it coming. It's like I saw it. It's like I can't even say I saw it coming like a mile away. It's like I saw it coming from yesterday. It's like from 2 hours ago. It's like, again, that's why I said I wish Cody Rhodes didn't even come out when AJ's called him. I wish he came out at the end on 9:59, where it felt more believable. It felt more easier on the eyes and the fans, and as a script.
Well, I think part of that, I think part of that too is just kind of it kind of speaks with like Cody's. Part of me wants to say naive nature, but like he's not really that naive. I think it's just more of him like seeing the good of people. Like, I'll dare I say, kind of like in a Goku sense, where it's like, I want you to be good. Like, Frieza, I will give you some energy so you can get off this planet, go on and just, be free. Just don't piss me off again, or I'll deck you right in the schnoz again. And, of course, Frieza just tries to blast Goku away and tries to, murderize him and all that. But like, the same thing with Cody and AJ. It's just like, Cody tried to give AJ a little bit more positive energy as he was seemingly going out. And, Cody kind of believed that, because again, like, AJ kind of made it believable. He was like, I don't have much time left, which it kind of makes sense. Again, he's been doing, he's not wrong. He's been doing this for like 20 plus years now. Like, and even him just mentioning his son, graduating high school and all that.
That's not real. It's like, we all saw that on the Twitter saying like, look at AJ Styles with his son. He just graduated, or he was also playing a sport with him as well. Like a couple weeks ago, we saw that. I was like, wow. Like, look how grown his son is. And like, hearing that, I knew like that's partially true. Like, he's literally telling his audience that be prepared. I'm throwing you guys hints that this is coming. Not yet, but coming soon.
Yeah, and I think that was another reason for this promo as well, to kind of like prepare ourselves for that moment, because that moment will be coming. Now, we've been seeing a lot of wrestlers that are around AJ's age, like we've heard Cena say something like this, Orton, Mysterio, and all them, but like, a lot of them are trying to make it to at least 50 before retiring. and I want to say I saw AJ chat. If you're listening to this or in the comments later on, maybe you guys can help fact check me on this, but like I'm pretty sure AJ had said something about like when he turns 50, like he wants to make it to 50 and then retire.
Well, he's currently 46 years old. He's actually turning 47, I believe, in 2 days, on June 2nd.
Oh.
So happy early birthday, Styles.
Yeah, happy early birthday. Hopefully you win another title here soon. Now here's a question, because like we're about to get AJ versus Cody too. Do you see a stipulation being added for this match, or do you think it's just going to be another straight wrestling match?
Oh, so you're asking the big question. You're asking would it be a retirement match?
I'm firing. I am firing
so
tonight.
You're not even asking like a simple question. You're asking, is this a retirement match of like a Ric Flair, like a Shawn Michaels?
No. I don't think, no, more of like a stipulation. Like, do you think it's going to be like...
If that's the case, I'd rather have that as Cody and AJ Styles round 3 next year or round 4 at WrestleMania, and that could be his retirement match.
So I'm not necessarily saying like retirement match. I'm more thinking of like, okay, is this going to be a no DQ match? Is this going to be like a last man standing match? Steel cage?
When it comes to their next match, yeah, it could be a no last man standing. That would be really nice. And no last man standing, that would be really dope. But I'm adding my quick thoughts towards the comment that what happened if this could be a retirement match and he would love to lose to Cody, like have a special match like a Ric Flair retirement match or like a Shawn Michaels one. And why do we make it special and have it at WrestleMania like they have always done with the retirement matches?
Yeah, no, I could see that. If I had my choice of AJ's last opponent, let him and Nakamura actually run it back. Like, and I'm not talking about like the WWE style version of their feud. No, I'm talking about like their Wrestle Kingdom 10 feud. Like, give them like 45 minutes to an hour and have them just go at each other. Like, God, highly recommend that match if you've never watched it.
Never watched it, but it's good to know.
Oh yeah, dude. Even if you just watch the highlights of it, like, it's really good. It's so good. But yeah, I do like too how we're kind of, well, you know what? I'm gonna bring this question to you guys as well. How do you guys feel about the OC being involved in all of this again?
I'm
like
happy
basically
they're
being
doing something with it, because the OC, as much as, because the way I knew that OC was gonna be involved is because when they showed the lower third, when they introduced AJ Styles, when Nick Aldis in the beginning of the show, and they said in the lower third, AJ Styles with the OC in the bottom.
Yeah.
They have not been saying that over the past couple weeks and past couple months. It always used to stay solid big words, AJ Styles. Never having said recently saying with the OC. But tonight, it said it with the OC, and I'm like, ha! So that means AJ Styles told them the plan, because that's what they did tonight. They became the wall for him, so nobody else could stop AJ from doing what he wanted to do with Cody. So that was smart. I'm happy the OC is finally doing something, because they've been like a mix, going back to NXT, trying to feel important in SmackDown. They haven't had a tag team match yet to be important in the roster or even be a contender for the tag titles yet. But I'm hoping that changes soon if the OC becomes more of a heel faction with AJ Styles now. But that's my answer to that question.
All right. What about you, Drop? How are you feeling about the OC being involved with all this?
Like Vash said, I'm honestly happy that they're being used again, because they've been background characters for like the longest time on the show, and the only time you ever really see them nowadays is on NXT, and they're not really doing anything with them there even now. So I'm just glad that they're being utilized like some way. because it's like, okay, if you want to have like this final run with AJ and you want to build things up properly, then you need to have the OC there.
Yeah.
Because and it's perfect like how they set it up too, because you have the OC with AJ again, and now you have Michin and Naya starting something in the back, so at least it gives her something to do as well. And I actually do want to take back what I said. Nathan Fraser and Axiom are fighting the OC at Battleground next Sunday for the NXT Tag Team Championship. So I do take back what I said. That's why you saw me type in something, because I wanted to fact check myself. I do the same thing in my videos. If I say something wrong, I put a little text on the bottom so people know what I'm talking about, because I know how these little people are online. When you say something wrong, they try attacking you in the comments. Oh, I thought they were having a match next week. Well, sometimes when we talk on here, we make little mistakes. It's just part of being human.
Well, actually, they're having a match next week on Saturday. If you were a true fan, you would know.
Also at the UFC arena. Let's add that too, because that's a special occasion.
Yeah, so it's like I'm honestly, I'm just happy they're being involved. They're gonna be relevant again. Honestly, curious to see exactly like what they're gonna be doing with AJ now, because now that they're aligning themselves with AJ again, I'm really curious to see what sort of plans Triple H has up his sleeve to utilize them properly. Like, I don't want it to be one of those things where it's like, okay, Cody Rhodes versus Carl Anderson and Cody Rhodes versus Luke Gallows. Like, I don't want it to be one of those things like how they did with the because I remember like whenever Roman had like a new challenger, somebody was always fighting Jimmy and somebody was always fighting Solo. I'm hoping it's not one of those things. Like, I'm actually hoping that they're being pushed properly, because I do care about them. Even though they don't get as much screen time, I do care about them. So I want to make sure that they're being utilized properly. And since they're aligning side each other again, I'm hoping it's for a good use. And I'm hoping, I mean, for the most part, it looks like they just brush things under the rug pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, because like I've had
it's fine.
Yeah, I mean I've had friends like that before, where like we've gotten into fights before, but like you just hug it out, bro.
And
like,
also,
that's basically all you do.
It doesn't have to be shown on screen as a TV time.
No.
Like, it could be like a
side
side
I
panel.
wouldn't really care to see it. Yeah,
it could be a side panel conversation. We never know, but on the surface, it looks like they're back together. It looks like, hey, it seems like they had their side conversation on the side of the screen. On a Thursday night, they probably had to say like, "Hey, yeah, we good, cool, cause we're gonna fuck up Cody tomorrow." All right, cool, I'm in. Boom, group chat done.
Exactly. And then really quick, I guess, drop, cause you weren't here when I asked Vash this, so I'll ask you this: do you see us adding a stipulation to Cody versus AJ too?
I hope so. I mean, it would make it interesting at the very least. Like, don't get me wrong.
Which one would you choose?
It's kind of hard to really think. Like, if they give me an idea in my head the next time they interact, then I could possibly think of something. It all depends on like their next interaction that I could really think of, like a possible scenario that can play out. I mean, if I had to choose one, I don't know how I'd know. The only thing that came up to my head was like no holds barred, but I don't know how that would really play in Cody's favor, considering that Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson can come out at any time. So
yeah,
I'm not really sure, honestly. Like, I'm gonna wait until next week and I'll get back to that.
Okay, all right, fair, yeah. But I don't know. Is there anything that we kind of didn't cover with all this? I mean, we didn't get too deep into like AJ's speech about retiring, but like, I'm not gonna lie, like some of the stuff he was saying was pretty good, but like the whole time he's talking, I'm like, okay, you're kind of making it obvious that you're not really retiring.
Yeah, because the way he was wording it, he was making it sound like if that was my last match. I'm like,
yeah,
choice of words, my guy. If you're gonna lie to us, you gotta say that was the best last match I could have ever asked for. That would have made a big difference.
Yeah, and like it was just like the way he was saying it, and like, not saying AJ's like a bad actor or anything. That's a whole other different topic. But it's like there was part of me was just like, okay, I see what you're doing here. I can kind of see through the facade, but like, I'm still on board with it, you know,
Yeah.
and like it still turned out really good, and I was quite pleased with it because again, as an AJ Styles fan, stay in the company, stay on my TV screen for as long as possibly can, please.
I would say that I'm just glad the using it just does well in a way to make us feel that he's not retiring, possible this, and being told by Nick out of like word. You cannot just jump to the head of the line. You gotta go to the back. You gotta get your shot again. Join the tournament. You gotta get your opportunity. You can't just do what you want.
Yeah.
And you said, word? I call my light to the audience and say I'm retired. I'm gonna spread a rumor and say I am. And then have Cody come out here, have him shake my hand up in the sky like we don't care. And then just throw him down the ground and do a Styles Clash.
Yeah.
And then now guess what? I'm in front of the line. I'm like, bitch, you son of a bitch.
Exactly. Because now Cody wants to fight me. So therefore, yeah, I win. I win this little interaction.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's just be curious to know what happens for Money in the Bank and what happens for SummerSlam, because for SummerSlam
And Clash of the Castle.
Well, for Clash of the Castle, it's mostly likely is gonna be AJ Styles.
Well, yeah.
But
Well, I don't know. If Cody gets two other friends, who knows? We could just have some 6-man action.
I don't mind a 6-man action. That'd be nice, a little change of
I
pace.
wouldn't either.
But for SummerSlam, I'm hoping his opponent is Randy Orton. The Rock is like a big if. People are still trying to hope it's The Rock for SummerSlam. But I have no guess or theory for Money in the Bank.
Rock's too busy peeing in water bottles on set right now, so he's not going to be too worried about going into SummerSlam, going for a title. Ah, man. But yeah, okay. You know what? Let's move on from AJ. I'm done with AJ's fake retirement. We have other stories to talk about. Oh, no,
I do have some breaking news for our next segment since we're starting.
Breaking news.
Oh, what's
Is this about Nia Jax and the other women?
Yes. So it was confirmed by WWE themselves that Bayley is defending her women's championship against Piper Niven at Clash of the Castle. So they did officially confirm that a couple minutes ago.
Wow, nice.
Let's go.
Perfect. A breaking story on Weebs of the Ring, episode 33. That Clash of the Castle is Piper Niven versus Bayley for the title.
I hope that is a showing out party for Piper Niven because she is really good. Too. Like, yeah, she's really good. But yeah, so Piper Niven was involved in this segment, which kind of started off with Nia Jax being crowned the Queen of the Ringu, and she was making that crown work. Like she was slaying tonight. Like
I was wifey. I was like, yo, babe. Nia is slaying the outfit, the walk. She looks lovely. She looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, yo, Nia, you look amazing. Even happy belated birthday on the show because it was your birthday a couple of days ago. So happy birthday as well. It seems like a lot of wrestlers have happy birthday around this time. So congrats on that part. But Nia look amazing. I was like just her looking with the crowd. She like, yo, this shit flow. And just her presence of her feeling at the queen, girl made it work. I was like, she's slaying for this.
Yeah. Like she's embracing this whole queen title, and that's kind of what I've wanted for her. If she did actually win it, which she did, and I'm kind of glad that her little crowning ceremony tonight didn't go too long. It was just like, hey, here's your crown, here's a couple words because you guys are booing me, whatever. Bayley, get on out here, and Bayley doesn't even make it to the ring until Piper Niven beats her up, and. Yeah, I mean, we're getting the match, Piper Niven versus Bayley at Clash of the Castle. We've been kind of building towards all of that, and this all kind of built into a tag team match with Naomi and Bayley against Piper Niven and Chelsea Green. How did we feel about this match? Because I'm not gonna lie, that the more Chelsea Green is on my screen like this, the more I just start becoming a bigger fan of her to the point where she might become a poster child of mine in 2024.
You want to go first?
My overall thoughts on this match between what was it again? It was Chelsea
It was
Green, Piper Niven, Naomi, and
Mhm.
Bailey.
Yeah.
I'm honestly like happy that Chelsea Green is getting more time instead of like being on main event or like coming at
Mhm.
like a dark match or something. So at least she's on the show. And it kind of makes sense that she's on the show considering that Piper Niven's gonna be in the main. It's not in the main event. She's gonna have a match with Bailey in the next pay-per-view, so it makes sense why they're showcasing them so much. And I never really had the chance to go back and like check what Chelsea Green was doing when
Same.
she had that match at Roxanne and stuff. I just heard stuff about it. So whenever I do find the time, I'll go back and watch it. But I heard a lot of people say that like she's very underrated, and the way that she was being showcased in NXT, it kind of made a lot of people think like, why isn't she like this on the main roster? Why isn't she like this in the ring, performing like this instead of performing the way she does on the main roster? Which I do agree with them, because it's like one of the things that they should really do, especially since they have a lot of their top stars out of the company. Because as of the recording of this podcast, it just hit 12 in the morning. Becky Lynch's contract's up.
Yep.
So currently at this moment, she is a free agent. And no, she's not going anywhere. We already talked about that on Monday. But they have a lot of people
Go check that out episode off.
Yeah.
But they have a lot of top stars in the company that are currently not there anymore. Becky's a free agent. Obviously, with time when she takes her break and everything, she'll be back. But you also have Rhea Ripley gone as well, and then you have the injury bug going around, and that's one of the reasons why Asuka's not there currently. So it's like this gives you the opportunity right here to help build more stars. This is the perfect opportunity. All your top girls are out right now. Okay, take this opportunity to build some other girls in your division. And I'm pretty sure, I mean, they're already doing that with Lyra. That's pretty apparent. But besides people like her, you know, people like Chelsea Green trying to build like another credible heel, that would be a very smart decision to do.
There's also two things that we could also talk about during the segment. Number one is Blair Davenport was also introduced finally in person, being interrupted by Naomi. That's one. Two, the rumor news sort that came out today about there being a mid-card title being spoken about.
Oh yeah, I was gonna save that
Raw
towards
SmackDown.
the end.
So, well, I felt like it would be good to brought up since this.
Well, not towards the end, but towards the end of this segment. That's
no, don't worry. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Y'all are on the same wavelength as I am.
I only wanted to save it because I know we would talk about that for like quite some time.
All right, copy. So we'll save that one after. But for Blair Davenport, I'm glad that she also was at least part of this, because this also builds Blair Davenport's not talking shit to Naomi, but she clapped back, say, "Hey Naomi, you may not know me, but you'll get to know me then." So I love that.
Yeah.
This could be
exactly. That's
an opponent for
another
the future
star.
now. Exactly.
Yeah, that's another star in the making. That's what I'm saying. It's like you have an opportunity right here where you could easily start building up Blair Davenport, making her a credible heel. This is the kinds of things that you need to do. If all of your girls are gone, this is what you need to do. So at least you know if something like this happens again, you can depend on these people when those other people aren't there. Like hypothetically, let's say down the line, Rhea, because Rhea's engaged. Rhea's eventually going to get married and she's going to have a child and stuff like that. And I would assume that's probably what her and Buddy had planned. I mean, I'm not entirely sure. I'm not them, but I would assume. Because that's just how it is with a lot of people. You know,
couples,
you find that.
We grow up, time move forward. So if Rhea does disappear again for another 9 months to it, for a good 2 years, you have these other next company stars from NXT in our current roster that need to be used. So like, I'm so happy with the current writing. Like from last week, Monday, Isla Dawn and Abba Fire was being shown finally on live TV instead of a dark match. So stuff like this, we have our stars that finally they're using a 3-hour show and a 2-hour show, using the time wisely. Not like somebody else who used to just change everything at last minute and have the same people on screen and feel like the show's dragging every single again. So things
and the
happen.
script was ripped up in the middle of the show too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just to finally have a SmackDown show, like that's why I said it in the beginning of the Stampede, or just right now saying SmackDown was a really good entertaining show, because we're even talking about this segment about Nia, Piper Niven, even Watkins talking about Chelsea Green, Drop talking about her run in NXT with Roxanne. I didn't see that match either, but I've seen some clips in her over in TNA, her going from show to show. I mean, from her going to company to company and doing freelance. For that, I have seen some clips of Chelsea Green. She's an amazing wrestler. She knows the craft very well, but she knows what she's good at when she's told what to do. But if you give her TV time to do her job as a wrestler, people will be entertained. And I'm glad that she's finally being shown as a mix-up with Piper Niven. I'm feeling that Paul Heyman type of management role running for Piper Niven. Like, she's being her hype man for Piper Niven, and I like that she's also being involved in a tag team match. So Piper Niven is being used very well with Chelsea Green. They're being such a great balance.
I'm also glad that Chelsea took the pin in this match too, because I remember when I was watching this match, I was actually caught off guard with that, because I originally thought they were gonna have like Piper take the pin, because they're trying to build her up for Bayley and stuff. They want to give her some momentum. So I was actually happy that Chelsea actually took the pin, because it gives me hope that with her being on SmackDown now, this is a new playing field for her. She has a lot of new friends to play with now. It's because she practically went through everybody in Raw. So if that's being on SmackDown, it gives me hope that hopefully she has some sort of plans. No, it's okay.
Yeah, no, because like that's kind of like the brilliance of the end of this match, because it's like you had Chelsea Green, who's like, yes, she's good in the ring, she has some great moves, she does, she moves around, she knows her way around the ring. Like, it's not like she's because oh my gosh, there's just so many layers that go into like just this whole women's segment, because like this is what I love about like Triple H and Shawn Michaels' handling of the women's division. It's like you get little moments here and there. Like we had the little moment with like Machine and Nia Jax during a short interview segment, setting up a match or a short program with them. You had something with Indy Hartwell and the tag team champions, like mixing it up a little bit, because apparently Candice got injured. Like, we're doing little bits here and there of like building storylines and building people up, and mainly building characters to make us care about them. But like with the brilliance that was just the end of this match, like having Chelsea Green being like, her desperate self of trying to get the win and trying to get the match won and all that. And then, Naomi hitting the rear view, trying to go for the pin. And then Chelsea Green basically being the sacrificial lamb for the senton going on to Naomi. And that's the ending of it. And like Chelsea celebrating like it was her that did it the whole time. Like, it's just moments like that just really add to each character and each person that's involved in all of these storylines. And like, this is where we can start leading into like the whole, like, with the rumors going around about like the main roster women's mid-card title possibly coming out, because like we're starting to build those new future stars. We have our Blair Davenports finally on TV talking about things, being mad that they're getting interrupted. You should be mad that you're getting interrupted by talking to the boss. Like, if anything, quick prediction, like shout out of the dark prediction. This is probably just me still being like on this Chelsea Green high. Give her the damn mid-card belt. Like, she would do wonders with it.
Yeah, we can segue into that right now, actually.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, give her that. So like, okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and like I said, ignorant children of the aisles.
We have a big news to report.
Yeah, so rumor has it, the main roster is going to be getting a mid-card women's title, which, if you're a fan of this show, you know how much we have been non-stop talking about
it
giving.
Almost week to
and this
week.
Is this is coming from Pawn, which I am a part of that server. It is an active wrestling server, a lot of great people over there, a lot of credible sources, so shout out to them. But it's from Corey, which is one of the people that are over there. I would assume. And it says plans are coming together for the introduction of the Women's Mid-card Championship on the main roster. And I had a strange feeling that was going to happen because they had that whole introduction with that title on NXT, and I felt like that was probably them testing the waters, and I see the reaction online, and now they're going to be doing the same thing on the main roster, which is a very smart move. And it's not like it's not something that's hasn't been done before. I mean, AEW does it. Sasha, Mercedes Moné,
just won.
Just recently won the TBS title this weekend.
Yeah.
So it's not like that isn't a thing in other companies, and I think it's a smart decision to do so because at least people like Chelsea Green or Piper Niven or Tegan Knox. Actually, I saw a report she's probably going to be going back to NXT, but still, people that don't really get as much screen time when you have like a main title feud going on with the woman. Like, let's say, for example, you have like your next match being like, okay, Liv and Lyra are going to start a feud or something, and they're going to keep going back and forth from one another. And then you have somebody like, I'll say like Chelsea Green, for example, on SmackDown, trying to start some feud with Naomi now. And then you could potentially have like a match if one of them had the belt on the line, and then you could see a match come out of that.
But my question
Yeah,
is,
exactly.
is it a mid-card title that will be for both Raw and SmackDown, or would it be a mid-card title that will be from Raw to SmackDown that will flow like the women's tag title?
I'm hoping it's that, because I don't want two different mid-card championships. And I would honestly sacrifice the women's tag titles for that.
Yep.
I honestly think that's the best thing, because
I feel like that
at least
if they do sacrifice the tag titles, I feel like it should be a mid-card for both brands. But if they're still keeping them tag titles for now, I think they should test first a mid-card title that could flow between both brands, see how that does and see the reception. And then if it does well, that title could stay next year in the draft in a certain brand, and then introduce the new title then. Like,
well, here's the other thing too. Here's the other thing too with the tag titles. Do more with them in NXT.
Yeah,
they can float to NXT.
Yeah, that is true.
There's plenty of women down there too.
Put them in here. But
that too. Yeah,
but like, I mean, the only reason why I feel that way towards the tag titles is because it's not. Triple H doesn't give me a reason to care about them. They haven't had the best presentation,
for years.
And I already know. Yeah, for years now. So it's like, why are we gonna introduce another championship, and then all the hype's gonna be on that championship, and no one's gonna give a shit about that. That's why I said before, if they are gonna do this mid-card title, which it's good that there actually is a plan that this is gonna become a thing. So I am happy for that. So I that's why I mentioned before, if there is going to be a mid-card championship for the ladies, that it would make sense to get rid of the tag titles, because with the tag titles already, they're floating between brands, so they could easily do the same thing with that mid-card title. And I personally wouldn't want two different mid-card titles, because then that means more championships. We don't need too many championships. Like, I get it, two different world champions from the men and ladies on each roster. Okay, I get that. Tag team titles, I get that, because they have a division over there. But I just feel like it'll be a little bit overboard if there's two different women's tag titles, because even AEW has a shitload of titles, but it only has one mid-card title for the girls. So I feel like they could easily do the same thing over here.
And TK wants to get more of them.
Yeah, he wants to do a mixed tag team championship, I saw recently, which I honestly think that's a pretty cool idea. I'm not against it. But
it's just, you might want to get rid of one of your other mid-card titles. Like, you have, what is it, like the international title, but then there's also like
that's the one
the Triple Crown title. Right? Yeah. Which
one does Okada have?
Okada has the Triple Crown one.
Oh, okay, so he has the Triple Crown one. So
I don't know what the Ospreay has. I've gotten confused with the titles because it gets so many now. So I've gotten confused. That's why I just got.
What's the thing? Like, they have like 3 mid-card titles. There's like that Triple Crown one. There's the international one TNT. And the TNT one. Yeah. And it's just like, okay, what? Like,
Yeah.
why? And then there's the trios titles, the tag titles,
Yeah.
and then like the world title, and
Yeah, that's
then
what-
the FTW title, and
Wait,
then like
question.
then you
What the fuck
get
is
Ring
the
of Honor.
What the fuck is the FDW title?
That's
Well,
one
you
that Hook
see.
has. Well,
Yeah.
Hook used to have until
The Learning Tree.
the Learning Tree.
Chris Jericho.
Yeah,
Oh boy.
that shit just
oh
gets
boy.
confusing because I'm like, wait.
But
anyway,
yeah, that's the
yes.
main reason. That's the main reason why I brought up AEW, Vash, because they have so
Yeah.
many titles. I wouldn't want the same thing. I mean, WWE already has a lot of titles. That's why I wouldn't want like two
But at
different
least
mid-card
with this
championships.
company, with WWE,
Mhm.
about what we're talking about is that as
More
long as
smart.
that the booking and the story makes sense, these titles have a purpose. The only reason that
Yeah.
we have a reason with the U.S. title, the Intercontinental, the both World, and the WWE title, both tag titles, they each
Yeah.
have a purpose. They're building its purpose. The tag titles are getting
Yeah.
better. We will talk about their match tonight and what Corey Graves said. We are very proud. I'm proud of what he said because it gives it more value. However, with the women's tag title, it hasn't given any value in the past 2 years. They even used that to merge the NXT women's tag titles, where it was
Mhm.
having a purpose in NXT, but then now as a whole, it lost its purpose as a tag title for women's. So with AW, as much as that it gets confusing, that it doesn't help when there's no type of booking. So when there's no booking, it makes it feel lost. It makes it feel like there's no purpose.
Right. I get that. Ah, man. But
Overall,
so
Mid-card title, we're
yeah.
excited for it. I'm thrilled. If
So-
it happens, if it floats, even better for now. Let's test the water. That's my final answer.
yeah. Now, if we do get this mid card title, how would you guys like to see us get our new women's mid card champion?
Definitely
Like,
not a back
would you
for
like?
fucking Battle Royale again.
I wouldn't.
Well,
I wouldn't-
hopefully not a battle
tournament.
royal.
A tournament.
You want a tournament?
A tournament,
Yeah, I want a
how
tournament.
they succeeded in NXT, and if they are going to introduce it, the best way to introduce it, have it build up for July, and have it the
Mhm.
pay-per-view or the PLE, at SummerSlam.
Yep. Yeah, you could easily do a
Yeah.
tournament just like how they did with
Literally,
the King and
copy
Queen
and
of the
paste your own
Ring,
company.
where you
Mhm.
where you don't have any of the top girls involved in it. Well, you could if you wanted to, but you don't really need to.
Yeah.
But
No, like have
you would
Chelsea
have
Green,
yeah.
Piper Niven, if she does lose.
yeah, you could
which
easily
you
do
will,
like a
stuff like that.
similar thing where it's like you
Mhm.
got a Raw side and a SmackDown side, and you have them competing
Perfect.
throughout the month.
Literally
And then
use
you
the
have
copy
them face
paste
at the
of King and
PLE.
Queen tournament.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it works. Yeah, it works.
You'd have to do it kind of. You would probably have to do it after Money in the Bank, because
Exactly.
you would imagine that like after Clash, they would start doing like qualifying matches for the Money in the Bank
Uh-huh.
ladder match. So it's like, okay, the focus will be on the Money in the Bank. So yeah, I'm kind of with you guys there. It's like maybe after that event, we start kind of building towards SummerSlam to crown the new like women's Intercontinental champion or whatever the title ends up being. But yeah, so like, I mean, back to the match again, really quick, Bailey took a lot of offense on this, but I think that's just mainly her thing, is just coming from the ground back up and winning a match by any means necessary, however she can, whether that's skill or when she was a heel cheating. I digress, but whatever. I thought the match was really good.
Yeah.
I'm glad, we're building towards, and we got, official now, Piper Niven versus Bailey at Clash of the Castle. That's going to be a banger of a match, I think. And, all the speculation we have about the women's mid-card title, can't wait to see what happens with that. And I'm just glad again, like, we have women that are characters in my WWE, and like, if anything, we could do, and we probably should do, another Evolution pay-per-view.
That would be fire. That would be truly fire.
We like the WWE's women roster is stacked enough where you can do that. Like, even if you didn't throw NXT in it, like, you have enough women on the main roster to like hold a good event like that again.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah, if not better. Like, and that's not saying anything bad about the 2018 pay-per-view with that, like, because it was pretty good back then. But like, the talent they have now, the level of talent they have now, nah, you can easily put on an all women's show that could, in many ways, could surpass any of the other B shows. Just throwing that out there.
Overall, I'm excited for the mid-card title, and if they do something with Evolution, or if they do something interesting like they did with the Queen of the Ring, have a Raw and SmackDown, what they could set up with Chelsea Green is my number one contender to be holding that title, and have different matches with other contenders from Raw and SmackDown. She would be a great first contender, or what's the word, when you're the first champion to lead off a new title.
I mean, I guess just first champion.
No,
I guess. Or
Seth Rollins. Remember Seth Rollins was the first champ holder for the world title. He was the Andre.
Are you talking about inaugural champion or
inaugural
okay.
champion? So I feel like with Chelsea Green, that would be a great opportunity for her to be the inaugural title holder for the mid card. I feel like that would be a great choice. But then
yeah. But we're gonna stick with mid card action. But enough of the lady folk. Boo, they have cooties and all that. We're not gonna talk more about cooties and all that because we got our U.S. title scene, which finally, after months, after almost maybe a year of us being like, hey,
about it.
LA Knight, go for the U.S. title, dude. Go for it. Make that mean something again. Come on, dude. You got it. You can do this. We believe in you. Oh, hey, look, Logan Paul has the title. You can face him at WrestleMania, right? It's already June, and now you're calling him out.
Yeah, he said
okay,
nah.
Cool, neat, awesome.
He stared him last week. He's like, yo, that hat looks good on you. I'm gonna talk to Nick next week. I'm gonna go for that shit. That's literally what he did. Like, he stared, he thought about it, like, I'm gonna talk to Nick next week.
I like how they're finally doing the match, because this is the match we originally thought was going to be at WrestleMania.
Everyone thought
which I felt like it probably was still going to be at Mania, but because of the injury bug, they had to switch things around. That's why you're seeing everything play out now. And I'm hoping they take some time to build up this match, because I feel like it makes sense for it to happen at like a SummerSlam
or Money in the Bank too, like whichever of the two.
Or Money in the Bank. But I the only reson why I say SummerSlam is because it's in Logan's hometown. Yeah, it's in Logan's hometown. And I'm going to put this whole thought process I have with this, explaining the reason why I would prefer it to be in SummerSlam. So the first reason is, like we just went over, it's going to be in Logan's hometown. And what did they recently do at Piper Niven? They're giving her a match against Bayley because it's in Scotland. WWE loves to do shit like that. And then the second reason is because Logan's fiance is currently pregnant and she's due around the fall. So you would think around that time, Logan's going to want to take some time off and spend some time with his new child, getting into that father life, which is great. And I'm happy for him. So I'm thinking it would make the best sense if you want to give Logan Paul like a high caliber match, you would save that for SummerSlam, and then that way he's probably going in there thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to win in my hometown. But 9 times out of 10, WWE loves doing something where it's like the guy doesn't always win in their hometown, or the lady doesn't always win in their hometown. So I feel like that would be a perfect send-off for Logan, and then you'll eventually see him come back probably around Royal Rumble or something along the lines of that, depending on what he does, because obviously he's going to be a father around that time.
Yeah,
and he's
so
going to want to spend some time with his
wife, their goal and everything else, and like how they want to.
Yeah, so that's why I would personally prefer them to just slowly build to it, because there's no rush. It's not like I want to see it like next pay-per-view or the pay-per-view after that. Like, I'm hoping they take some time with that.
So I guess a follow-up question I have with that then is, what would you have Logan Paul do for the next 2 months? Would you have him maybe not do Clash and then do Money in the Bank with somebody, or what would you guys see Logan Paul doing for the next 2 months.
I feel like they
Honestly?
could still have 2 matches. I feel like that if LA Knight loses his first match with Logan, if it is Clash of the Castle or Money in the Bank, running back at SummerSlam, there is no doubt that he could get back a rematch for that if LA Knight loses. But if the story gets cooked by Triple H and Nick Aldis for Logan and LA Knight, right now you have Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes could jump in the line to Nick Aldis saying like, "Hey, I could verse LA, aka Logan Paul, for the title instead of LA Knight." And if anything, just out of nowhere, he loses. He's like, "Look at that. LA Knight came in like, you're not meant for this. It's my job or something." So that's my quick thoughts of what it could look like Logan Paul being busy and not making the time for LA Knight, where it doesn't come too fast for SummerSlam if they only don't want to have them like a round 1 yet until SummerSlam.
So if I'm gonna build off on what you just said, then I would do Logan versus Carmelo versus LA Knight instead.
A triple
And
threat.
then that way, that triple threat, and that way,
where
I can
Carmelo
honestly
takes
see
the pin.
yeah, I could see Melo taking the pin. That way, you can still protect LA Knight, and then around that time, like I don't really think they're gonna have a match at Clash. If I'm making a prediction, I don't think he is.
Yeah, I don't think he needs it for the U.S. title
No.
at the moment. He can
And
take a break.
it's just in Logan's character not to be on every single pay-per-view. I can't really see him being on back-to-back pay-per-views.
I do see him being there for Money in the Bank.
I can see that, yeah. So that's where I see that match taking place.
Yeah, triple threat. I see that.
Is Logan versus Carmelo versus LA Knight for the U.S. title. Melo ends up taking the pin, and then the following pay-per-view after that is SummerSlam. So then you can build up that match between Logan and LA Knight.
And then LA Knight wins, and then his first opponent is going to be Carmelo Hayes.
Yep.
I could actually kind of see also LA Knight and Carmelo Hayes having a match at Clash of the Castle.
That too.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that
could
too.
work too.
Oh yes. So you could do it where it's like LA Knight versus Carmelo Hayes at Clash. Then you got the triple threat at Money in the Bank, and then you have the one-on-one match between Logan and LA at SummerSlam. I just want Logan and LA's first match just to be something special for the first time, because this is how I look at it. Like, could we do 2 matches? Sure, but I feel like sometimes when you have that one match, it makes it unpredictable, because jumping in there when you know LA's going after Logan Paul again, and it's different with Roman, because with Roman, we're used to Roman like always winning most of his matches, so it's very unpredictable when somebody comes on top of Roman. But it's like jumping into that match, you already know straight off the bat that LA is going to come on top. So I would want to jump into that match knowing that he has the home advantage, and there's a good possibility he might come home as champion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at least with that match in mind, it makes it unpredictable.
If LA Knight is still the champion, like it, again, we're talking about prediction. We're talking about the possibility, chat. So if you also want to give us your theories, your stories of where you can believe this, tell us. Give us a breakdown, and we will reply back. Chat, Twitter, Weebs of the Ring hashtag, anything like that. But if LA Knight stays champion from SummerSlam, for example, until next year Royal Rumble or WrestleMania, Logan Paul could run it back for round 2 at Royal Rumble or next year WrestleMania. So we can have an improved, much better match from the first one too. So a lot of people could think like, I just don't like it when a round 1, round 2 match happens back to back when it doesn't have enough build up. Like right now with the previous segment that we had 2 ago at the Story of the Night, Cody and AJ Styles, they have been built up already round 1, and it took a break. Now we're back to round 2. So if this happens with Logan Paul and LA Knight, I like, stamp, approve.
Yeah, and I do want to mention about tonight's little thing with LA Knight in the back. How he cooked Carmelo Hayes just in that promo segment.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Let's talk about this.
Carmelo Hayes, he he got his words mixed up a little
That's
bit. I mean,
funny.
it happens to all of us, don't worry. But like,
Yeah.
little bit of a slip. He's just like, look, if LA wants to face like have an actual match, but he's mainly talking about Logan, and I had to put the actual quote in here that LA said, just saying, if I was gonna face myself, I'd be looking in a mirror, get it right. Like, oh, dude, he cooked you hard. But then Carmelo Hayes just comes back again with another good line too. Just like, if he wants to talk, then you're the guy. But if he wants to walk the walk, I'm him. And it's just like, oh, that's such a good line. A shame you messed up your other line before then, because like the I'm him thing is just kind of like, but like, you know what?
Still hit.
Fair. Yeah, it's still hit. It was still a really good line, but it's just like,
I added in the document saying that I love this line because he picked himself up. He didn't stumble. Like, hey, Logan Paul, he could have said LP.
He went with it.
He probably meant to say LP instead of LA. He messed up the letter. He even tweeted right after at 8:57 p.m. after the segment, right? He literally tweeted, "Oops, I got name mixed up on live TV. Maybe I should go back to NXT." And he literally wrote it in capital, no capital, capital, no capital, and go back to
also
NXT
like the
because
SpongeBob beam.
yeah, like people in the audience probably already start to say, "Oh, you messed up already," and I'm like, bro, he literally messed up a letter. He probably meant to say LP instead of LA. That's a really close up. Even myself, even Drop, even Watkins, we have messed up in quick words. We have fixed ourselves on live YouTube broadcasting.
I do it all the time in my videos.
Yeah, so we are. People need to understand we're a podcast, but technically we're the new version of old back in the day of radio shows. Podcasts are the new radio shows, and what we do is live TV conversation. We could fix us up if we make a mistake. We're doing it live. Same thing with Carmelo. He messed up with an LA to LP. Shit happens, but he still said it. That, hey, but if he wants to do the walk to walk, I am him. To me, when I heard that, I was like, hey, he still got it. He picked himself up.
Yeah.
I let it slide. I don't mind. This dude cannot go back to NXT. He knows how to cook. He is doing the best he can. He versus Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and now he's going for the top guy as well, LA Knight. I feel like he's doing great. LA Knight just had a great time. He said, "Oh, he messed up. I'm gonna just take a little stab on him. I'm sorry, my boy. You young, you're good. I'm gonna just get back at you right now." I love it. It worked.
Oh yeah, it's just fun little banter between the two. But like, man, it was good. It was just fun seeing just LA Knight just cook somebody a little bit. It's always fun just to kind of watch things like that. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I can't wait for this because again, we've been speculating on this. Not only just us, but like the rest of the internet has been like, "Oh my gosh, we need LA Knight versus Logan Paul." Just imagine the promo work against it, and it's just like, yeah, the promo work itself is something that would be SummerSlam worthy. That's a big event for the year in the calendar year and all that. So that's definitely a match that needs to go on with that. But I'm, enough of these silly mid-card titles. I'm tired of it. I know Sydney's tired of it. She's sleeping on the couch right now. We got some other sagas to talk about. We got this whole thing going on with the Bloodline because, oh my goodness, you want to talk about cinema? You want to talk about people that deserve an Oscar? Give a damn Oscar to frickin' Paul Heyman. My goodness, the performance he had tonight was so freaking good with Kevin Owens. Like, just everything about that segment and like everything leading up to it, everything that's going on with the Bloodline right now, I've been a huge fan of. Like, it's been slowly cooking, but like we've got some layers, we've got some strings going out. But like, boys, how we feeling about everything that's going on with the Bloodline?
I love Paul. In this segment, I just want to give props. Like, I know we're gonna break it down, get the thoughts, the questions, who's the we, KO in his reactions. I know we're gonna break it down, but Paul, I gotta give it to you, man. You knew how to cry. You knew how to get the pauses. You knew how to build the momentum. I love how he knew how to control the audience with what they were chanting. He knew how to wait for the moment of the audience saying we want Roman, and just hearing that, even with Watkins saying that, just still hearing the we want Roman chants is still surprising to hear for me as well. It's pretty interesting to see that finally people are acknowledging him even after him being gone. They still love to hear him, the champion that he is or that we had before. And lastly, it's like, Paul, I love how you are starting to accept your role even though you didn't want to accept the job.
What do you mean by that?
Remember how Paul said that, like, hey, I was the wise man for Roman Reigns, the tribal chief of the Bloodline. And then when he said it to KO, like, and also to Solo, like, hey, and you know, you have no strategy. Like, let me be helpful to you. Like, let me be your wise man. Like, if you want me here, like, remember, he didn't want to be with this.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Now he's starting to accept his role. He's starting to accept, like, I guess if I'm being forced to be here, let me at least be helpful to you. Let me at least give you a strategy for us to get back on track.
Okay. Yeah, because, like, I kind of see it, too, as, like, Paul trying... Because he's desperately trying to rein in Solo a little bit. So, like, now that he's kind of stuck in that position, like you were saying, Vash, it's like, okay, I have to, like, do my best to kind of control this situation. Like, Roman, at least, I was able to talk to. I was able to reason with him. Let me try that with Solo real quick. And he tries to, but, like, that's kind of when Solo pulls out this we thing, and it's just like, wait, hold on, donkey. There's no we, there's no our, there's just the bloodline, and it's swamp. Like, what is this we thing that you keep saying? Like, who is this we? And it's like, it's just adding more of the mystery, even though, like, a lot of people are saying, oh, it's The Rock, obviously, which it could be revealed to be The Rock. We'll get to that road when we cross it eventually. But it's like, who is this we? Like, is there maybe another force that's kind of telling Solo to do this? Like, is Rikishi involved? Is he doing this for The Rock again? Like, what are we doing here? Like, who is the we?
He does it for The Rock.
So for Chet to understand that, if you didn't see the whole, if you didn't hear the promo and everything, Paul was asking, like, we need to get back on track. You have no strategy. We feel directionless towards the goal of getting Cody. Solo says, we have Cody Rhodes in check. He don't even know it.
Yeah.
And Paul was like, wait, hold on. Let me ask you a question. With all due respect, who's we? And I love how he acts that. He's like, for me, I felt like you're in that friend group, and like you are comfortable in your friend group, and you be like, bitch, what? Like, you get shocked when you hear a comment by your friend, and you be like, really now? Can you explain that real quick or something? Like, anybody has had that experience before. Paul had that moment of like, wait a minute, you just say we. Who has the higher power with you that's making the decisions that I'm unaware of? Like, who's this we?
Well, I also want to know, I'm also curious too. I wonder, because like with Solo saying, okay, we already have Cody in check and he doesn't even know it. I wonder if this has anything to do with what The Rock gave to Cody.
So my theory is this, because I want to pass it to you, Nick, to hear your opinion about this as well. Because my opinion, or my theory, when Solo says that we have Cody Rhodes in check and he don't even know it, my theory is that, remember what Corey Graves and Wade Barrett have said during commentary, that the Bloodline are more savage and more dangerous than ever, and they're by numbers. So what does that mean? Is the Bloodline is currently taking out Cody's friends, his Avengers, Randy Orton, KO. He's taking the people that whenever that Roman Reigns or The Rock or the Bloodline Solo or Jacob Fatu, whenever they come out to attack Cody, nobody could actually come out and step out to help him. That's my theory. So that's how, when he means that Cody Rhodes is in check, that the people around him, whenever that they're gonna attack Cody at that time and when, nobody can step out and help him in that time because they're injured, their knee, the back, they're out of commission, they're not medically clear. Those would be the excuses. So, Drop, what do you think about the we? About what is your theory about this whole conversation? It's just like Walken said.
I mean, I definitely think it's The Rock. I think it's pretty apparent that it's a Rock because I remember when Solo was originally introduced to us, it was said that he was sent down by the elders, and Rock is one of the elders. So it makes sense that it makes sense that Solo is obeying whatever Rock is telling him, because you got to look at what played out at WrestleMania as well. Yes, Cody ended up winning the title against Roman in the main event on night 2. But you also got to look at what happened in the tag match. You also got to look at what happened throughout the build-up to WrestleMania as well, where you had that one segment in the ring where you had Roman tell Rock to acknowledge him. Why would Rock acknowledge Roman, considering that he's the High Chief and he's above Roman? Why would he need to acknowledge Roman Reigns? He could very well do it on his own behalf, but Roman put him in a position where he had no other choice but to acknowledge him. And then you look at what happened throughout like that entire build-up. Roman was like a side character. He wasn't a main character at all. Rock was still in the spotlight and everything. And then you also saw that Rock was speared by Roman accidentally at WrestleMania. So obviously that's going to factor in. They're not going to just throw that in there and be like, oh, Roman missed a spear on Cody and he hit Rock. No, it's obviously planted there for a reason. And that's why people say when certain things happen to them, they don't forget. They always remember what happens.
Oh yeah.
So it's definitely so it's definitely like a whole bunch of things being laid out by The Rock, where it's like, okay, The Rock is looking at how the Bloodline was before. He's not really happy with how it was structured, so he's trying to build his own Bloodline. And look at the performance of his Bloodline so far. They're winning a lot of matches. They actually feel important. They're actually being built up properly. We saw them win their match tonight against the
Street Profits.
The Street Profits. So it's like they're actually looking like a legitimate threat, and then Rock can take credit for that and be like, okay, Roman, you see this right here. When eventually they have that face-to-face, Rock's gonna be like, you see this right here? How come you couldn't do this? How come I can do this in like a matter of seconds, and it took you like 2 to 3 years to put yourself in a position where it's like everybody around you just felt like nothing. They felt like weaklings. They felt like they were just misplaced, not being utilized well. And now you see me here just doing it in a matter of seconds, where I'm actually able to play all my cards right, and I can actually get the job done. So it's definitely things like laid out by The Rock. And then adding on to what you said about them taking out everybody that's close to Cody, that makes sense, because obviously Cody's the current target besides Roman, because Cody has the prize that Solo was talking about before, where he's like, he has our title, because normally you would refer to it as like, oh, that's my, but he says our, so that's meaning more than one person. So theoretically looking at that, it's like, okay, it's Rock saying the Bloodline title, like that title right there, I want that in our family. Because you even had that awkward segment after WrestleMania where Rock asked if he could hold Cody's title, and then he just holds it, and he's like, yeah, you know, this is something I never won before, something I've always wanted. So obviously they're planning to something, and obviously looking at how everything was being structured after that, it makes things like pretty apparent. It's like, okay, they're trying to do everything they possibly can to get this back, even if it means taking out all of Cody's friends. Like, you got KO gone. Well, KO's back now, but they want to make sure that Cody's in a position where he has nobody there to help him if they ever decide to target that person again. But when that time comes, that's when Roman's going to come back. And I don't really think he's going to target Cody. He's going to be targeting Rock, because he's going to look at Rock and be like, okay, why are you making all these decisions? I thought we were family. I thought we were doing this together. Like, why are you going out on your own behalf, making all these rules without talking to me about it? And then that's when it's going to lead to a whole bunch of drama. And then this is when we're eventually going to get that match at WrestleMania next year, because I don't really think we're getting the Cody and Roman match. I mean, the Cody and Rock match that's rumored doesn't really make sense to take place there, especially in Vegas. you get The Rock in Vegas, you're guaranteed to get a WrestleMania main event there. I'm sorry. So it makes that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, and like, oh my gosh, just the layers going on in here, because like when you talk about Solo being brought into the bloodline from the higher ups, like when you kind of start looking at Solo's character from when he joined the bloodline, comparing it to his time in NXT before then, and then his time now, like that statement of him being brought in by the elders makes a whole lot more sense when you look at what happened with his character. Because like in NXT, he's cutting promos, he's doing things for like, he's being set up for the North American title, like all that other stuff. And then as soon as he gets to the bloodline, he is this silent killer almost. And it's not until like Roman's gone that, he starts kind of talking a little bit more. But it's like, wait, what if he was just silent? What if he was just doing that because he was there for the job that The Rock gave him? It's like, okay, I'm not going to speak up or anything because like I need to kind of play ball here. So it's just like, I'm just going to not talk. Like, I'm just going to, do the order. I'm going to do the thing. Because like we see multiple times where like Solo tried to go into business for himself. Like there was a couple times where Roman stopped him from attacking Cody. There were times where even Solo was questioning why Roman was making him do something or wanting to do something and all that. Like there was a lot of good character work going on with Solo through all of this. And like it's something I want to point out, just especially with that statement being said again. It's like, this is your long-term storytelling. Like this is how you do it. This is how you add character depth to somebody, And I mean, if I'm wrong with that, then fine, whatever. Then maybe WWE's doing something else different with it.
I like to agree with you. Right before we move with the rest of the segment with KO and with the tag match, I see that being the vision because with NXT with Solo, he was a different version.
Yeah.
Now with this version of Solo, now away with Roman while he's doing his thing. And Solo is wearing a suit. He's not wearing the gloves no more. He's more professional. He's speaking no. He has a direction. He has a we. So he's either following somebody else leadership, aka The Rock, or he's working with somebody else as a co-op, like with Jacob Fatu or anybody else.
I also do want to say I think Jacob Fatu more than likely is going to be on Jay and Jimmy's side now.
Okay.
Because
I can see that.
Yeah, only because like they already got like three groups of people already. You can't just have like Jimmy and Jay. Because you got Solo, Tama, Tonga, Lola. So you got the three of them towards each other. And then Roman and Rock aren't going to be back for quite some time. So then you're going to need one other person to be there with Jimmy and Jay. That's what I feel like Jacob Fatu is going to appear. And the only reason why I say this, and I do agree with this report that came out, and I'm not sure if you guys saw it, but a lot of people say if they align Jacob Fatu with Solo, Jacob Fatu would probably steal the spotlight for him, only because a lot of people look at Jacob Fatu and be like, okay, this is kind of how Solo should be, because Jacob Fatu, he has the charisma, he's good on the mic, he has all the qualities to be a top WWE superstar, so people are probably going to pay more attention to him than Solo. So putting them on opposing sides would probably play out a lot better, because at least that gives the audience a chance to get to know who this guy is, and it also adds like an equal balance between the two, because you can't have both of them on the same side. Yes, he works a lot better as a heel, but for the time being, it would make more sense for him to be with Jimmy and Jay when they come back, because you can't just have it be a 3-on-2 until Roman and Rock come back, because that's not fair.
No, put Jacob Fatu on Team Heat. Put him on Team Heat for now. For now. Who knows? Maybe they put him on there and then he just kind of turns on them, and ends up joining. But like, I kind of agree too. It's just like he would overshadow Solo Sikoa in that role, so it's just like, keep him on the other side of everything. But yeah, so like that little speculation of Solo's character, the whole speculation of it all leads up. I love how like just the timing of KO's music for when Paul Heyman was just like he asked Solo, "Who's we?" and then you immediately it's just like da 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 da. And it's like, oh, okay,
I bet you the producer or AD in the back is like, go, line, now, press it. Like, music, KO, go, walk out. So I feel like it's really well-timed, organized, because it shows the difference of how everything is well structured with tonight's episode. Because KO came out the right time. Paul Heyman came and followed. And KO and Paul Heyman, like, we said it in the beginning of our segment. Paul Heyman gave a beautiful speech. I felt like it was almost as good as, like, I would say this is top 2 speech of 2024. His Hall of Fame speech, of course, is his number 1 right now this year. This is number 2 speech. His promo work, his mic work, his emotions, his body language, him trying to plead that, like, yo, KO, I'm not trying to help you, my guy. I'm trying to fucking save you. Save you from these criminals to come out here and start a damn war. And KO, you're not listening.
Yeah. And I think for me at least, I think the most powerful part of this promo is like, yeah, we had, him trying to be like, KO, don't do this, which you're telling KO not to do something. He's gonna do the thing.
Yep.
Yeah, he's gonna do his own thing. But like, for me, the most powerful part was when he started going off about redemption. He's just like, oh, you can be redeemed for all the things that you do. Oh, but the moment Paul Heyman tries to get redemption, oh, dude, fuck Paul Heyman. Like, he can't get redeemed. He's the lowest of the low. Like, he's the Orochi of everything. Yes, I'm going to keep bringing One Piece and then fuck off. I don't care. Like, so I thought that part was really good because, like, you just hear and you see the desperation in Paul Heyman being like, I'm trying to help you and you're not. Sydney, stop moving the table, damn it. Like, you're not listening to me. You're not, like, taking my words. Like, I'm a freaking Hall of Famer. I have helped many people beyond, like, I've helped name Redacted before Roman Reigns came around. I've helped other people like CM Punk. Like, I wasn't in his corner. I was in other people's corner too. Like, they actually listened to me and took my advice to heart. And look at where they got, and look how far they got. And another thing too with all this is like, there was a lot of respect putting on Roman and the rest of the bloodline, which in a way took me out because it's just like, okay, Kev, you've been fighting the bloodline since they first came to be, and now you're saying, oh yeah, I respect Roman. It's like, okay, I get it on one end because it's like, okay, as somebody who used to be a former heel, yeah, I get it, using your allies to win matches and all that, like, I get it, all that. But like, there was a part of me that was kind of taken aback, like, okay, you're saying now that you respect him after everything he did to you the almost 4 years. But I get it, though.
My guess that he broke kayfabe. Like, he was also saying in general, like, he respects and like what he has done for the company in the past 4 years during the pandemic minority. Because KO looked kind of more emotional on his face than I thought he would be during this conversation. Like, his facial expression looked like he was more emotional than I thought. I'm like, okay, pretty interesting choices. But for KO, like Watkins said, it was the most hilarious thing when Paul's like, hey, don't do this. Don't start a battle with the bloodline. These are the criminals. We did a background check on these guys. We don't want these criminals here. I'm trying to get these guys out of the company. But Solo continues bringing them. I'm like, bro, if you don't want them in the company, the payroll would not be paying them. We just found out that the minimum wage for a main roster talent is $350,000 in a year. That's some beautiful money for any main roster. So any of these people could be getting that budget. So you didn't want them here? That's literally a jobber. Thank you, Watkins. That's literally Tonga.
I'll hang out in catering. Like, I'll hang out in catering if I'm making $350,000 a year. Like, yeah, give that to me. I'll do it.
But Drop, what did you think of the KO and Paul Heyman little conversation? And KO said, "Fuck this, let's start fighting."
Honestly, it's like Paul Heyman has been like showing us on the screen for like the past couple weeks. It's just a cry for help. He doesn't really know what to do in the situation that he's currently in right now, because if Roman's there, he'd be perfectly fine. He'll be able to move around and do whatever he wants, but knowing how Solo has him in his possession, and that's obviously probably one of the things Rock had in mind as well. That's why he's telling him to do this. Heyman just seems lost, because the way that he was talking out there, it's not like he was praising them and saying that they were like the best thing ever. Like, he was pretty much saying that, like, yeah, these people are dangerous, it's best to keep away from them. And he just doesn't want any part of it, but he's just stuck there because there's no one really out there to help him get out of the situation that he's currently in right now. So I liked how he was trying to be open with Kevin Owens, and he was trying to sell where he currently is right now and how he just wants somebody to help him get out of this whole entire mess that he's a part of. And obviously KO's not going to buy into it because he's been feuding with Bloodline for so long. He's probably just eating it up like a whole bunch of bullshit. And Paul Heyman's actually is working with these guys, and he's just trying to trick him so he can get closer to them and catch KO off guard and sneak attack him, or do whatever the case may be, or like trying to take off like another talent on like the SmackDown roster where it's like, okay, KO's out of the way, now it's time to target somebody else. So that might be the kind of mindset that he has in his head, where he's like, okay, I don't really believe these guys because, like I said, they just been feuding for so long. And realistically, why would you believe something like that? That's why I wasn't really surprised. Some people I know were saying, "Come on, KO, he's being honest. Like, you got to understand what's currently going on right now. This isn't how things should be." But at the same time, it's like, if I was in KO's situation and I had somebody fucking around with me, trying to get in my face and just putting me, like, because KO was put through a lot of shit. I mean, if you look at what happened at the Royal Rumble last year, you had like KO getting handcuffed to a to the ring. And then they were and then they're hitting him with the chair. They were doing a whole bunch of shit in there until Sami Zayn intervened and came in and helped him throughout all that. So it's like he's been through so much shit. So I don't blame him for not believing anything that Paul Heyman's saying. So I thought the segment was done very well, and it's honestly, like a lot of people say, one of the best ongoing stories in WWE, and that's why WWE remains king when it comes to storytelling, because this is the kind of shit that gets you to want to watch next episode next week. This is the kind of shit that the three of us want to talk about on the podcast, so we could sit down for 10 or 15 minutes or so talking about, okay, this is the next chapter of the Bloodline, and this is what we're gonna talk about tonight, and give our thoughts on this and what it could possibly lead into next. It's like you're watching an episode of a show, or you're watching a movie, and then you have that little cliffhanger towards the end of the movie, and you want to tune in to watch the next movie to see what's going to be happening next week. It's just good television.
For my analogy, the way I see our conversation for this segment is about 25 minutes, but for the...
Makes sense because it's a big storyline.
It's a big storyline, so I'm like, it makes sense where we're going. But the way I see Paul Heyman, he's a scorpion in the story of the analogy that I think the scorpion was on top of the frog or on top of the turtle. And
you're starting to make me think of that thing Cody said.
Which one?
That Cody actually made that analogy not that long ago about like the scorpion and the frog.
Oh, then I'm guessing the same analogy I'm using. Is that how can you trust Paul Heyman that it's in your nature? You may be lying to us that you want to help, but it's in nature to deceive us. So how can KO believe him? So that's what I felt from Paul Heyman speaking to KO, and KO, like your friend said, that, Paul Heyman's telling the truth. He could be. But how can we believe him when he's been stinging and poisoning us for the many years? How can we believe him this one time that he may be honest to us? Out of all these years, how can we believe that?
At least KO had like a better mindset than Cody did tonight. Because if I was Cody, I would be like, this isn't going to turn out the way I expect it to be. going around, cheering around, and not expecting to get hit.
Bro, yes. But KO was good. He said,
Yeah.
let's shoot the hands, and then the Street Profits came in to defend. And Tonga, Lola, Tama Tonga, I don't know what the fuck they're eating, because it's just having them become like a savage fucking dogs. Like just some fucking hyenas. The fuck?
Oh, look,
What?
look.
I was trying to figure out what was happening towards the end of that match because they were like talking.
Oh,
and
where they
stuff.
were doing like the
Like,
squats and all
Yeah, the
that?
squad, they're like,
Yeah. It's like, yeah. Yeah.
I'm just glad he's
It's like,
talking
what?
and he's not a gremlin. No.
For
I
now.
Felt like they were
don't get your
growling
hopes
each
up.
other. I felt like they weren't even talking. Like I felt they were talking but growling
Well,
in a talking
yeah.
state, and I'm like, bro, like, can we
I mean,
not
if-
have them like be like savage animals? Like, if they're gonna be criminals, but don't have them be like non-type of speaking like animals.
Yeah.
Like I felt like they're being treated like the boogeyman, like not speaking, and just having
Yeah.
like a growl type of personality.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. But yeah, so like you said, we ended up getting this match that, you know, was advertised for the show, Street Profits versus Tonga Loa and Tama Tonga. It's pretty good. It not a lot of kind of like what Corey said on commentary. It's like, okay, there's not a lot of rest holds, there's not a lot of suplexes or grapples or anything. Nah, this was a straight up fight where there's like a lot of strikes going on, a lot of just like quick hard hitting moves and all that. And I do like because this was, you know, Tonga Loa and Tama Tonga's first tag team match that I can recall on the main roster since Tonga Loa came into the company. They had really good chemistry in the ring. Like they were like their styles weren't exactly the same, but
Yeah.
they were similar enough to where it's like, okay, we can work together and all this. Like there's still like some teamwork and camaraderie going on.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I thought this was an excellent match. It was a good way to kind of like solidify these two as a tag team by beating former tag team champions in their own rights.
I do want to say, quick thing is, Angelo Dawkins was working overtime in this match. He was his best that he ever cooked. I really love the beginning sequence before the commercial break. Excuse me. When they came to help out KO, Angelo Dawkins stopped Montez Ford instead of him doing the suicide jump. He said, "Hey, bro, I got this. I got this."
Oh yeah.
And he motherfucking did. He jumped, and when he landed the jump, he got into a cross-seated position on the floor and look at the camera like, "I told you, I got this." I love that cockiness look when you know that you're about to kill it and you feel proud of it. I saw in Angelo Dawkins' face. He was a proud motherfucker, and I'm so happy for him to feel just to land that spot. Being in that seated position, you feel good, you look good, and it was a great match. During the match, just to see him execute a lot of the moves, show the aggressiveness, it was very well. I was a proud little camper, fan of the Street Profits, and just seeing them execute good matches, and it's just a good move set that both Montez Ford. By the way, happy birthday to Montez Ford as well.
Oh yeah.
Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford did a great match of this. They sell very well, and they just did a great tag team match overall.
Yeah, I have to agree. It was a good match. It's like I said before, it's a good match to showcase the Bloodline and to take them seriously with this new iteration of the group. And you always have to make sure you want to make somebody you want to take seriously look strong. So I like this match, how they were showcased. And one of the things I was going to add in here is that Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa were actually a tag team, I believe, in New Japan.
Yes, they were.
Where they were known as Guerrilla Warfare. So it was
Correct.
nice that on top of them being a part of the Bloodline, we also have another credible tag team to add
Do we
into the
think they're
division
gonna
as
keep
well.
the same name?
I mean, they're not afraid to say Bullet Club anymore, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
And Corey was mentioning New Japan, like
Yeah.
on commentary, like saying, yeah,
Yeah.
they were New Japan tag champions for a bit. It's like, okay, yeah. Which I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep saying it.
It's
'cause
weird.
it's one thing for like AEW to do that, like to be like, oh, so and so was in New Japan or Ring of Honor, blah blah
Or
blah.
like,
Yeah.
our champion from TNA to be showing up on NXT, like,
Yeah.
it's a surprise as hell, and everyone nobody
Like-
expected. Like, wait, we're about to have champion versus champion from two different companies at a UFC arena. What the fuck?
like just being exposed with WWE for so long and knowing how things worked back there, it's just so
Refreshing.
surreal to think that they're actually able to mention the wider wrestling world, which again just makes the product so much better, and it makes your stars that much better, because like now you can actually mention just exactly what they did. Not like, oh yeah, he toured the indies and did a stint in Japan. It's like, no, he was a former like New Japan World Heavyweight Champion or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
Like they're still not like mentioning things like AEW, because
Yeah,
you know,
beef
they
or anything
they
like
kind
that.
of are the competition. Like
Yeah.
as much as we say that with like TNA and all that, it's like they can actually work with them, as we're seeing,
Well,
you know.
what I do want to add as well is that my favorite slap in the face to remember is when it was, I think, the PoE backstage right before they started. It was Big E with CM Punk and I think with
Oh, yeah.
Jackie. When even CM Punk himself, when Big E was talking about New Japan and everything, CM Punk's reaction was like, wait, what? Huh? He's like, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
man, it's been years. Yeah, man, we talk about it like, yeah, man, I'm sorry. I'm just, I'm back. I'm new to this. Just hearing this, times have changed.
Mhm.
And just hearing that, like, from somebody who's been out of the company for 9 years plus, to literally be saying the same thing that the audience is saying, like, yeah, wait, what? Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo. We hearing this on
Nani?
screen.
Yeah,
even
'cause
during
they
my
were so
job, it's like,
used-
woo.
Yeah, because I don't know if you guys ever saw like a piece of paper that like floated around of like certain things that they were
Yeah.
that they were supposed to say. Like they weren't, like, instead of saying hospital, they had to say local medical facility. They were never able to
Mhm.
say hospital. And instead of saying championship, they had to say title. And they
Yeah.
weren't even able to mention like wrestling at
Oh, yeah.
all.
A list of choice
Yeah.
words that was said by a certain
Yeah, no, it was so
somebody.
stupid.
being
Yep.
corrected, yeah.
The list of banned words.
I
You
remember
can't
that.
say belt. It's like,
It's like,
what?
yeah, it's like,
Belt.
it's like, okay, but that's what you are as a company, so I don't
Yeah.
really understand that.
You're
Well,
you're a professional wrestling company. No,
I do
we're,
wanna
we're
add
entertainment. Damn
one
it.
more thing,
It's like,
that
what?
Montez
Okay.
Ford and what it was with Tonga Lola had a fantastic type of volley between them, the choreography and everything. Montez Ford did a quick tag with Angelo Dawson, and then they did a beautiful spine buster right after. It was such well executed that Tonga Lola sell it very well. I was very impressed with the tag team work with them always, and when
Mhm.
it just seems so perfectly seamlessly, it just looks more beautiful.
Yeah. Oh man. But that was I think that was our good old Bloodline segment for the evening. I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to hit up some more matches, because we did have a couple more matches that we can
More
hit
than
really
us, too.
quick. Because yeah, we got a couple more. Yeah, so like we got to keep building up our tag team division. You know, we got some tag champions that do need some opponents. And hey, earlier in the day, Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, DIY, meeting up with Nick Aldis, who apparently just has an open door policy for his business. That's fine, whatever. They get into a little beef with our tag champions, set up a match between Ciampa and Austin Theory, which this match was really good. Like, this is probably the best Theory's looked in a long time.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I said it right
Yeah.
here that best ever Austin Theory look in weeks/months. I learned about that to remember to say that,
Mhm.
because this was a match. He put up an awesome offensive move that had the arm and the
Yeah.
leg, and then a flip with a cross by throwing Ciampa like in a 2-turn, and I'm like, that's interesting. Even though I saw it on the Twitter timeline, people saying that Austin Theory has done this before, and I'm like, great, but that doesn't mean that he has done it in a good match to be even more memorable. For him to do this in the whole match, and actually the match itself being entertained and actually well timed and everything, I was having a fucking blast. So to me, this was something
Same
that
here.
I was seeing for Austin Theory that I was entertained by. Waller F up and had Theory take the L. He took the pin. That was not supposed to happen. And this could be a possible theory of, I mean, well, I guess not pun intended. Wait, yeah, I guess pun intended. Of Theory becoming face with a baby face, because he could be turning good, because they're not seeing eye to eye, and those been Easter eggs happening before WrestleMania, but not that they won the title, they're getting back into that. So I love that. And I know that you guys have had this theory as well, because you guys asked the question before we went on air and also on the timeline.
Yeah, because
about Theory becoming face,
Yeah, because that comment that like Grayson Waller made during tonight's show, where he's like, it was because of the Grayson Waller rub that he is where he is today, and then Austin Theory is like, wait, what? What did you say? And it's not only that, but we've been seeing like a lot of tension being built up with them for like quite some time, where we had Grayson putting Austin Theory in a situation where he's like, okay, I'm going to put you up against this guy. I'm going to schedule a match with this one. And what we saw at the Elimination Chamber earlier this year. Yeah, we have, and then we had an Elimination Chamber earlier this year. He pretty much just fed him to like Seth and Cody in that segment. So it's almost like, am I just being used as your punching bag? Do you not look at me as a friend anymore? Are you too cocky and all you really care about is yourself? You just solely focus on yourself, which kind of makes sense, because that's just the kind of character Grayson Waller displays himself on television, where he's more about himself and he makes everything about himself. So could that be the thing? So we obviously know some sort of tension is being built between Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. And I think that's what I honestly pulled out of this match. Like, yes, this match was great. Ciampa and Austin Theory looked great. But from a story perspective, that's what I personally pulled out of that match. Because it makes me interested to see, like, okay, how are they going to structure this face turn for Austin Theory?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people were saying for the longest time, yeah, Austin Theory needs a new character change. You need to switch things up. So this is definitely setting up something that we could potentially see down the line. And I'm honestly like really excited for it. But I'm happy that getting a little more on like the match itself, I'm happy that we had a match of Ciampa and Austin Theory, because I just want people to know like who Ciampa is. Like, people known who Austin Theory is for quite some time, but Ciampa is like a great wrestler. And one of my hopes that they do in the future, and this is just a personal thing, I hope they have him turn as a heel, because I don't know what it is, but he just has that face where he's just, you can look at him as like a douchebag, because that's practically how he was in NXT Black and Gold.
He reminds me of Edge, a bit of the personality of the ruthless aggression type. Like, like gives me that type of personality trait. But my question is, do we feel like DIY is being booked well, that if they don't continue not getting the title or not getting work well, do you think people, the audience and the fans, will be getting bored and rather see them in their single runs instead of being tag titles, since they're not being useful or they're not getting the championship yet?
I could potentially see them getting bored, and that's the thing that sucks when it comes to being on the main roster, because it's kind of like a sink or swim situation where it's like you got to make your impact as soon as you can, otherwise people aren't going to buy into your character anymore. Like, it's easy for Lyra to put herself in a situation for people to care, because she's aligning herself with one of the biggest women's wrestler in wrestling, period, with that being Becky Lynch. So obviously just being involved with her already puts you on the map, so she's not really having that much of a struggle to really get herself out there. But Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa has been on the main roster for quite some time now, and everybody knows they're very talented. They know how to cut promos. They know how to go in the ring because we've seen them do a lot of good things in the ring. And they're one of the highlights out of NXT Black and Gold, where they had like one of the most iconic rivalries in there with the both of them. With because Ciampa pretty much just gave you a quick rundown of like who Ciampa was before Vash. When Ciampa was known in NXT as a psycho killer, and essentially what he was, he just practically just went around and doing whatever the hell he wanted, and he didn't have any theme song. He just came out there with no entrance music because that's just the kind of character he was. That's how they built him up there. So I'm honestly hoping that something comes out of this, like feud between Austin Theory and or just like A-Town Down Under against DIY, because I want to see like DIY be successful on the main roster, because it's not like they're shit talent where nobody cares about them. They can be top players if utilized correctly, which I'm honestly surprised. And we could see something different from 2 to 3 months from now, but I'm honestly surprised they're not at that level already, considering those are Triple H boys, and Triple H practically like brought them up to be where they're at now. Like, if you want to talk about top guys that Triple H cares about, that he had in his NXT, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano are one of them. Just like how it was with Charlotte and Bayley and Becky and Mercedes, those were his girls back then as well, where he brought them up to be who they are today. So I'm honestly hoping and praying that something happens with DIY in the future, because I hate to see them losing every match, because the only other thing you could really do to make up for it is just having that Tommaso turn on Johnny Gargano, and then you could potentially relive that feud that they had on the main roster with what they had in NXT.
Yeah. And like part of that too is just like, okay, how are we going to book that? Because it's like, there's really two routes we could be going with DIY. It's like, okay, we can either have the route where like, okay, they do win the tag titles and they go on a run and do all that stuff, kind of like what they were doing in NXT. Or you could do the story of like, okay, they just can't win the big one together, and like that ends up eating at Ciampa, which we've seen like a few moments of that happening, of him just like being fed up that they keep losing. Like we could be telling that story too, where it's like, okay, they lose again and Ciampa is just, he's had it, and then they end up having a feud and kind of running back what they did in NXT. So it depends on what Triple H decides to cook with that. So I don't know. And I'm kind of in the same boat too with the whole Theory thing. It's like, okay, give him something new, give him something different, because it's kind of running old, kind of running stale a little bit. And I think especially with Waller being the one kind of like planting the seed tonight, like another seed tonight of being like, oh, I dragged him out of obscurity and he's lucky to be getting the Grayson Waller robe, like all that shit.
I would have said,
like,
bitch, who are you? What? I was the U.S. champion.
Like, wait,
I was this and
what?
this. I was Money in the Bank winner. Even if it didn't go well, who are you to tell me why I'm bigger now? They no rub.
Yeah.
Hopefully Austin slaps him back.
Did you beat John Cena at WrestleMania? No, I don't think so. Okay, that's what I thought. Grayson Waller, go away. So, and also I'm very intrigued to see what a face Austin Theory would look like in a Triple H WWE. Like
in a current time, and actually book well, mic work and everything.
Yeah, like, and I mean, Drop, you can remind me too with this, but like, because the way they were mainly heels in NXT, right? Like, it wasn't until like the end where they started being a little more face. Yeah, so like even then we didn't really get to see too much of face Theory. So I'll be genuinely curious, because again, I'm pretty sure I've said it on here too. Like, Austin Theory just has one of those faces that you just want to punch. Like he just feels like a natural heel to me. Like I just want to hate you, because I just want to deck you right in the face. Why? It's not like you made me angry or anything. It's just I look at you and I just want to punch you in the face. Like, you can't help that, dude. Like, some people you just can't help that with. Oh boy. But yeah, so they'll probably drop the titles here soon to, if not DIY, maybe New Catch Republic. I don't know. Who knows? But another team that we got going on is Legado. So Legado del Fantasma are trying to move on with their feud with Rey Mysterio since now he's on Raw and all that. And hey, Andrade, you're new here. Why don't you come and join us? Join me. Angel Garza trying to go up to Andrade earlier today and be like, yeah, join us. We're cool. We're hip. Andrade wants none of it, and I don't blame him at all for it. But hey, we get a... Yeah, no, I don't blame him at all. But hey, we get a cool match with him and Apollo Crews, which, yes, give me more Apollo Crews on the TV. He's really good.
I'm just, honestly, out of this segment, I have 3 things to say. The Angel trying to recruit Andrade for the Legado del Fantasma, I don't give 2 shits about. I appreciate Angel trying to get Andrade. He was smart to say that, hey, look, I put a good word for Santos. He is going to let bygones be bygones. We're going to shove it under the rug. Let it be. We move on. Cool. Me at the moment, I don't care because I want Andre to do his own thing. He answered beautifully. He said, nah, I'm good. Move on. The second thing I care about this, like I said it, just happy to see Apollo Crews having TV time in wrestling and longer than 7 minutes of a fight. I was happy to see that. And this was with commercial included. So just to see that happen, that is longer than 7 minutes plus, I think the full time was 9 minutes or something I saw online. But just to know longer than 7 minutes, Apollo Crews was fighting and getting his TV time. I'm happy to see that. And now he's having more TV time next week versus Angel. I'm all fucking for it. And the third thing, Andre taking a W. And literally, during the backstage interview, I think it was with Jackie or Kayla. I can't remember who it was. And then Apollo Crews comes in and takes out Angel a lot. The last thing we saw Andre do was literally just back off, continue on his day. The most funny shit. He literally said, I'm going to just back off, go do my thing. Those are 3 things I have to say about this fight. Because the match overall, great, entertaining. Apollo, you had longer 7 minutes. But Andre took the W. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Yep. And also, really quick, another little breaking news thing, or I guess just something a little fun. Mark Henry on Twitter giving AJ Styles some props, telling him well done, AJ, and giving him a nice little clap. So, hey, that's great to see.
He said, I appreciate you doing my homework and copy and paste.
Good job. Good job learning from the best. Ah, man. But yeah, hopefully this program with Andrade and Legado does not last long. But I mean, I'm also here for a Santos Escobar versus Andrade match.
I don't mind because at least
that would slap.
Legado to Fantasma, at least they're doing something other than fucking dealing the same thing with LWO versus Carlitos and dealing with the same bullshit.
Right.
Alright, cool. Raymond's still doing something against Damien. That's a whole different conversation for our Monday coverage. But just to finally see Legado to Fantasma do something other than dealing with the LWO, and they're still dealing with 100 and other people, but I'm happy that's moving forward. That's my, I'm just happy to see the people that's doing TV time are being useful and story is being progression. That's my favorite.
Yeah. Drop, did you have anything to add about Apollo Crews and Andrade?
Only thing I really have to say is that I'm just happy he's getting some screen time, like Vash said. That's all I really took out of this match.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much same here. But yeah, so I mean, that was pretty much SmackDown. I mean, overall, I thought it was an awesome show. Again, the only like slow moment was like the Bailey Naomi versus Piper Niven Chelsea Green match, but like it was really only towards maybe the tail end of it, and even if it dragged, it really wasn't that bad at all. It was just like, oh, we have it's already 9:30. Let's just get to the main event segment kind of thing. But yeah, I thought SmackDown was pretty dang good. But what'd you guys think?
Job, go ahead first. Tell us about your overall thoughts about SmackDown.
I honestly thought it was a pretty good show. I liked how stories played out. Probably my highlights of this would have to be what we've recently talked about with Austin Theory. So I'm hoping we get some good things going with him moving forward. I'm hoping we get some good things with DIY moving forward because, like I mentioned before, one of the best things you can do right now with a lot of your roster gone is to keep building more stars that people care about. And then going back to the Bloodline, I mean, I think that's a similar thing we always say every week. It's always very entertaining to tune into SmackDown every Friday to see the Bloodline story carry on to the next week. It's been an ongoing thing ever since it first started. It's always been a hot story topic. So I loved everything that came into that. And I'm honestly glad that we're getting another match out of Cody and AJ. And this one seems like it's going to be having more story into it, which I'm super excited about. But those are my overall thoughts, honestly. I'm just really glad. And I had a feeling jumping onto this show after all the PLEs were over that we were going to get something, we were going to everything back on a steady schedule.
I would like to piggyback to what we just said, that the Bloodline story is really good and been entertaining. The one thing I love about the most about the Bloodline story that has been evolving and been improving in their TV time length and usage. Because I remember in the last year, the Bloodline TV time has been for 45 minutes when a lot of people used to say that it could have been 10 minutes shorter, it could have been 15 minutes shorter because of all the walking, all the straightforward of the music, the slowness to the ring. So all this has been a slow build-up. But with the current Bloodline story, with the Heyman, everything has a moment and has a build-up with what they're trying to say and what they're trying to say less, and with more emphasis of the who's the we, what we're gonna do about this tag match. So everything has been important playing off.
Right.
Cody versus AJ Styles. AJ Styles, like Watkins said, that Mark Henry gave him a compliment, like, hey, thank you for taking the notes out of the book. Appreciate it. You did good. Apollo Crews, I'm really happy for him to get TV time. Honestly, like, I'm honestly thrilled just to see him get TV time. I'm a fan of Apollo Crews. DIY, hopefully you get the W soon, because I'm still entertained by you. I still love your song. I still love your gear. Everything has been great in that department. When it comes to LA Knight, please continue cooking and get that U.S. title soon, because I want to see you having the belt. I want to see you have the belt. Get Nia Jax. Congratulations, happy birthday, happy belated, and becoming Queen of the Ring. You've been doing amazing on this new run of WWE. So I want to continue seeing you succeed. And that's about it. My overall thoughts about it. Oh, and plus Michin, good luck for the NXT, for the mid-card title. Good luck that if you do get a match with Nia Jax in the next coming weeks, because you saw lock eyes too hard. So you step on the queen. Are you about to get stopped? We're about to find out. Other than that, Indy, you were smart to back off from Bianca and Jade. They gave you the Carfax. You need to back off. Very smart thinking.
Carfax. Oh, shit. Oh, man. Well, yeah, that was SmackDown, and hey, that was the show as well. So, with that out of the way, chat, I hope you guys had a great night. I know we had a great night just talking about the wrestling, talking about the graps and all that. So, before we head out, just want to, as always, I just want to thank you guys for taking time out of your day to listen to the Weebs of the Ring podcast. If you enjoyed what we had to say, Vash, what can they do?
Like I said in the beginning of the show, guys, if you did not pay attention, or you did not hear, or you chose to skip a couple things, you're here at the end of the show already. I'm going to repeat it one more time. Listen closely. Follow at AniMa W3 Studio. We don't have no separate channels for Weebs of the Ring on Anime Podcast yet. We haven't thought about that far or decided we should. But guess what you could do is use the hashtags. Hashtag Weebs of the Ring. If you listen to us on your YouTube channel, if you're looking for us on the post VOD, like the video, tell us your thoughts, give us a comment, subscribe. If you're in the Twitch side, twitch.tv/AniMa W3 Studio, definitely appreciate it if you give us a follow. If you're on the social media side, at AniMa W3 Studio, everywhere else, and hashtag Weebs of the Ring, definitely let us know about the clips. Did you find them funny? Do you want to help us out? Maybe choose any other clips that we should have better for the promo or market on the social media. Let us know down below in the comment section, and we appreciate all the support and all the love.
Yes, please, yes. And as Vash said, feedback is always appreciated. And just remember that AniMa We, that is a we with a 3. So just always remember that when you're trying to look for us on the social media. So, as always, Weebs of the Ring is presented by AniMa We Studio. Thanks again to our production team of Vash, Watkins, Drop This Box, Rome, and Jokester, as well. Special thanks to JB and Abe. So thank you all for joining us, and remember, no stunned grannies were harmed in the recording of this podcast. Have a good night, everybody.